Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Are We On Air? Today, we sit down with someone who's going to completely shift how you think about design, music, and what it means to carry on a legacy. Gaia Repossi, creative director, artist, modernist, and the person transforming her family's legendary jewelry house into something nobody saw coming. Here's what fascinated me. Gaia has carved out this space that's entirely her own, somewhere between her architectural obsessions and her love of minimalism between Phoebe Philo and Phil Collins. She's this incredible cultural hybrid, rooted in a century of heritage but moving toward a future that's completely unexpected. We're talking about music as a secret trick for concentration and her obsession with form over everything else, and why she chooses instrumentals over lyrics, and the surprising emotional power she finds in cold metal. Plus, I'm taking you behind the scenes of all the magic that happened at our exclusive Repossi pop-up at the Kiosk. Now, if you haven't already, then hit subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and of course at areweonair.com. Gaia Repossi, welcome to Are We On Air?
Hi, Armand. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Merci for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. We're here in Hollywood it's an Airbnb, I guess.
No, it's a friend's house.
Yeah. We have a little takeover this evening at the Kiosk. That's very exciting. What can we expect this evening? We have a little collab going on.
Oh, we have a surprise that's not really music related, but with little stickers. Also, we're in LA, so there's smoothies. But now
Shout out to our friends at Air One.
Yes, Air One, but a surprise. But it's yummy. But no, now we can talk about music. No?
Now we can talk about music, yeah. And why don't we start with what's your earliest significant musical memory that shaped you as an artist?
Well, I'm a visual person, so I wouldn't say that music shaped me as an artist. I use it though. I use it to concentrate, instrumental music, etc. And so maybe my earliest memory would be, I don't know, waking up with my father and Phil Collins, like happy music. I'm more tortured. I listen to instrumental music to find inspiration. Yes.
Which Phil Collins song shall we play then?
Oh no, it was Stevie Wonder. Sorry. There was also Phil Collins, but Stevie Wonder was, which one's the famous one? Is something about love? Like, is this...
Ma chérie amour.
That one also. No, it was more like happy.
We'll find it. We'll add it to the playlist. Don't worry.
It was also my father's music, not mine.
No. Talking about your father, you're third generation, fourth generation Repossi?
Third generation, but there was ateliers in the family. That's why we say both. But actual designers, number three.
Number three, yeah. So what's the story of Repossi? Give us a rundown for people who might not know what Repossi is. So who Repossi is?
The story of Repossi is a jewelry brand from Torino, Italy, based in Paris and Monte Carlo for many years. And it's a gorgeous, very minimalistic. I took over after my father. My grandfather had very Art Deco design skills and taste. And my father was very in time with the 80s and 70s. And I don't know, I'm redefining something modern, timeless. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And how do you, I personally, of course, love heritage brands, right? Like the stuff we're environment now,
something chic.
Something chic, yeah. And what's difficult, and I think that's kind of interesting going through the three generations, is how can you update, develop a heritage brand without losing its DNA, right? And bring it your version or your vision or the modern, or your dad's was the 80s. Okay, so maybe it was more 80s, the zeitgeist of the 80s. But how do you take a heritage brand and give it new life, basically?
Well, the DNA is in my veins. It's in my blood. So I can draw. I can thank my dad and my grandfather for the drawing skills, because literally it's all we can do. That's why I'm not a musician.
I'm not a musician either.
You're not, but you're a savant of musique.
Yeah.
So it's in my blood. It's in my genes. That is shocking. The older I'm getting, how I realize it, because it's all I can do. And we found drawings of my grandfather that I had never seen that have the exact same ideas.
Really?
Of some designs
Wow.
I developed we didn't know about. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So genes are important. So maybe a lineage of musicians would be different. But gene. And then the respect. Every designer has to reinvent classics. So the classics of the house with a strong attachment to the past and the archive. And you have to honor the archive, but reinvent it. Otherwise, you don't do your job.
Because that's obviously also in the fashion world and all the heritage brands. It's hard because you have like the greatest hits, right? That you kind of got to keep going, right? The cash cows. Maybe minimal changes.
We
but
call them icons.
Cash cows, my
pillars, icons.
Yeah. Nice. And then you can, I guess, you do new lines and sublines.
Yeah, or you just take the exercise of, every jewelry house does classics. So the exercise of redoing a classic, a solitaire ring, the engagement ring, the solitaire.
Is that the one?
No. I'm wearing gold.
Yeah.
Gold. It's actually my Mapplethorpe collaboration.
Oh.
Oui. So every role is to take a classic and reinvent it. The cascade of diamonds, the chandelier earrings, a chevalier ring. You can use any theme and reinvent it. Mm-hmm.
Talking about Mapplethorpe, because I read you call them mini sculptures, basically jewelry, right? So if you take a collaboration like that with the Mapplethorpe Foundation, I guess, how do you apply that? Like, how does it work? Well,
first it was a tribute. So it's not really, you mentioned being an artist with an applied art. Because what I do is an applied art. You have the discipline and the skill and the rigor. That's why I need music that's instrumental, because I need to think. I can't sing while I'm working. And so basically that gives you a transformation of a piece that's like, that you build in the structure and the architecture, and you need the discipline of it. So an object has to be perfect, the right weight, the right proportions, the right, I call it design juste, correct design. And so it's not a free medium. So even Mapplethorpe, you would think, but he was collecting vintage jewelry, and we were close to the foundation. It was using the imagery. And they asked me to do the jewelry, so I took a big honor. And I went through deep research because he was collecting things and assembling them beautifully. He was way more into shapes that were, organic. No, there's something way more realistic. I like abstraction. Mm-hmm. So then I took them, and as an honor, I recreated the icons in the same that he did. That I call the icons in the same shapes and the same but in fine materials, which apparently the foundation told me would have been his dream. And then I added my own DNA of stacking and abstraction for some of the more simple objects inspired from what I found. So no, it's a lot of, it looks easy, but it's not.
I didn't say it looks easy. Have you ever found like an object or like a sculpture that inspired you so much you can literally see it in a piece of jewelry?
Every day. That's why I go to galleries. That's why I go to museums. I see it in a tree, in a metallic shape. Yes, so that's why we're talking about metal emotion today.
So what do you do? Let's say you find a branch of this tree. You take it. Do you take a picture or something?
Take a picture. That's why my phone's exploding.
But I'm sure also music plays a role in the creative flow. Do you actually listen to music when you're in the studio or actually designing and drawing?
I have a very specific type of maybe more electronic music, very modern, very simple at the studio all day, because I generally draw in the morning, and then I meet with my team of designers. And, for me, music is definitely more of a transcendence. It's concentration on emotion, it's transcendence, it's concentration. And it just gives me, I don't know, a sort of dimension where I can just be in another. But when I design, I'm in another world anyways, so I probably don't even listen to the music. But it has a motivation. I find maybe fierce in it, or sort of a transcendental, more like, or sometimes an emotion, but the emotion is after I'm working.
Yeah. And afterwards. But I think the first time I became very aware of you was through our mutual friend Nina Kravitz, talking about electronic music.
Yeah, when was that?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah,
she is strong music.
Yeah, strong music for sure. Yeah, that's the first time I talk about like electronic music. I was like, oh, okay, I see the connection now. Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, she educated me to rougher music for sure.
I like it. Yeah, talking about rougher music and your music choices. How would you describe yourself in 3 songs?
So I don't like girly music.
That's fine.
But I don't know. I'm not attracted to girly sounds. For instance, I prefer, blues to jazz, hip hop to rap. So maybe I'm a bit dark. I don't know. So how to define? I don't know. I just looked it up for you. Yeah. But maybe there's a song I kind of like, which is Club to Death. I think it's in The Matrix, I think. And then that's the tough side. And then, I don't know, Satellite of Love, because Iggy Pop, it's a classic. Satellite of love, satellite of love, satellite of love. And maybe Shoop, because Shoop, yeah, because I love old. I love old hip hop, and it's cute. And those are the 3. I don't know. That's it.
Fantastic. Which we're going to actually hear today at the Kiosk, right? Later on.
It's your playlist.
Yeah, it's your soundtrack. It's your takeover.
Yeah.
But talking about Repossi, do I pronounce it right? Repossi? No, it's 1P.
English, Repossi. Repossi.
Yeah. Repossi. What's the Sound of Repossi, the brand?
Sound of Repossi. I chose a song which, to me, I'm not sure if it defines it entirely, because I hope it's a lot more.
Your version.
But I picked Man-Child of Nene Cherry.
Oh, Nene Cherry, yeah.
Because it's chic, timeless, but also cool.
Nice. We love Nene. But besides your own brand, you also play a lot of roles creatively with other brands, right? I mean, I see you out and about.
I've done collaborations.
Yeah, but like in Paris, you're big in the fashion world, running around.
True. I'm very close to a lot of designers and houses that resonates to my world. Yeah. Including, what I just said, modern, timeless. We all belong, now we're all the same age. We all belong to the same houses, and it's a very interesting moment.
You also work with LVMH?
Yes, we are LVMH. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So indirectly, basically, was part of the group.
We've started working together almost a decade ago, 9 years ago.
Yeah. How's that?
Great. It's a lot of structure. I told you discipline structure is anyways part of jewelry. So it wouldn't make any sense nowadays to part alone. And I'm very proud for my family's heritage. Yeah.
And if you would have to start a jewelry brand today, is that really that much more difficult? Because you hear it a lot.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I know I talked about jeans, so I was lucky. My father taught me everything. Yeah. And without the structure, it's a crazy journey, the cost of the materials. But nowadays, I think with the redefinition maybe of what I brought and other people brought, there's a relevance to it again. So maybe you should do it.
Okay, that was a quick turnaround, so do it. Who knows where the journey takes you.
It's a risky business.
It's a risky business. The margins must be great.
Like every luxury that is relevant, if you do it correctly, it will work.
Exactly. You just got to put your head into it. What are your favorite designers? I don't know, you wear a lot of...
Today I'm wearing Phoebe.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Not these, but my everyday rings.
Nice. Yes. And when you're getting ready for a night out, like tonight, you're standing in your closet and you know you're going out for dinner with friends and maybe a dance afterwards. What do you put on? What's your go-to song to get you going?
Well, I don't want to disappoint you. Maybe it's a surprise, but I listen to 90s hip-hop.
Yeah. Well, no, get it, please.
Oui. And that's how I get ready. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And what shall we play from that? From your hip-hop play?
Well, we said Shoop. I don't remember a lot of the songs because it's kind of a new discovery for me. I'm going through a lot of layers of many. Maybe Tupac, All Eyes on Me, but there's a lot more like niche. Not that he was not, but he's a great musician.
Of course, yeah. The B-sides.
I'm finding a lot of niche musicians from that time that were so cool. Like in the lyrics, it's funny, but it's also, I don't know, I like the music.
Yeah. And what's your go-to falling in love or heartbreak song?
Okay.
You're blushing.
But maybe, I don't know, I put something very cheesy and very cliche. This Is Home from Sheryl Crow, because that's how you should feel. And then also something a bit very deep and tortured. It's like Suspiria from Tom York. All is well, as long as we keep spinning.
Deep and tortured. Oh, that's for the heartbreak part, I guess.
No, that was.
Oh, that's in Falling in Love. Okay.
Yes. Or I don't know, an Arabic song, something a bit ethnic, with some depth. I always love that. And the heartbreak, if you really want to know, I put Requiems of Mozart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I prefer Requiems to opera.
Wow.
I put Something on the Way from Nirvana. So not very happy, but really good song.
That's fine.
I put Mad World from, I don't remember what's the musician, but you know, it's in Donnie Darko. Mad World. Oui. And then at some point I'm going to listen to Breathe from The Prodigy because I'm not a victim.
Nice. Well, after the heartbreak, what's the sexiest song?
I wrote, it's very cliche, but Wicked Game. I love the 90s. I think music-wise, it was very in phase with minimal sounds, and it's very, very, very sexy. What a wicked game you play to make me feel this way. But I also wrote Bachelorette from Björk.
Nice.
A bit more sentimental. Yeah. And then something fun for later, Blue from La Tour from the 90s.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, to wrap up our little chat, if your life would be a movie, what song would play in the end credits? It can be anything you want.
American Beauty's soundtrack, because it's bizarre and I love it. And it's deep, it's strange, it's very interesting. And then I also thought of the soundtrack of Tree of Life.
Oh, nice.
But just because that's more for my personal life. Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on air with us.
Thank you.
And I'll see you at the Kiosk
Oh, yes.
in an hour.
See you tonight. Thank you for having me.
Merci à vous. Thank you for tuning in this week. If you want to listen to the full playlist, visit areonair.com or our Spotify channel. You can also find us on Instagram and on YouTube at areonair. And a big thank you to my wonderful team at Studio Neu. I'm Armand Lafay, and I'll speak to you soon.